And big inhale. So you can bring your breath back to a normal pace, bringing the awareness into the forehead. And slowly open up your eyes. And just be in observance of the room and how you're in a different space right now. You're in a different place.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Awesome.
Clarity is something that I consistently need because I think too quickly. There are always like 7 different trains running in my brain at the same time.
Yeah.
It is.
I love it.
I have a lot of things that I want to say, and so it's more often than not, it's difficult for me to just be thinking about one thing. I always have to be taking in all of the knowledge, all like through different mediums at the same time. So like I'll be like listening.
That's not a problem.
I'll be, like, listening to a podcast and reading a book. I'm like absorbing all of the information still. It's just different pace.
No, it's like a beautiful thing, and
sometimes I have to slow myself down though.
Well, that is like why I wanted you on here, because like I think you have such a beautiful mind, and the way that it works, and just everything that comes in and the way that you articulate it is so fascinating to me. And so we were talking about this book because I want you to keep going, but at first I wanted to like
chill up.
Because getting in front of the camera with the lights and stuff is definitely like nerve-wracking, you know what I mean? And it's like, and you have such important things to say, and I know that it's like, which ones do we talk about, right?
Exactly.
Because we need to talk about all of them. You'll be back on again, I'm sure. We'll talk more, and then I'll see you, there, and we'll talk more there, and we'll just talk about whatever right now is.
Perfect. So that book, so interesting. Like it's through the viewpoints of many of the different people in the town, and this town is like sequestered itself from, I guess, normalized society, because there's a witch that walks around. She's just there constantly, and they like take it upon themselves to just hold this darkness that is still very much alive in the world, and just keep it there instead of like, they view it as like keeping the world away from this curse, but there are still people that move to the town from time to time, and like they have to become aware of this either through dreams or just quite literally seeing this witch. And I don't know how I would feel in that situation, because it's a book, it's not real. But it's very interesting that they took it upon themselves to just hold this darkness, instead of bringing it to the world. They just harbor it themselves. It's sad, and it's also like a thing that they think is necessity, which may very well be, because of all of the deaths surrounding this witch. But it's, I don't know, wouldn't you want to bring that to someone else, confide in someone else, like the public, or but I guess we as humans can be very fearful. I've just been thinking about it a lot.
Right, yeah. Well, like it makes me think about, what do we just kind of hold on to us as like a shadow? What's kind of like always there that we're a little bit fearful of? Maybe that's the like stuff that we like need to look into and bring light to it.
Yeah, that's why shadow work is some of the most important work that you can start doing before you start like in practicing witchcraft. You have to look into your shadow and peer deeply to be able to understand who you are. So you can't always look at the positive.
Yeah, right. get that because I'm a pretty like positive person.
I feel that.
So it's like, so I for a while there, I didn't look at the darker pieces, and like, I feel like seeing that side just like made me love myself a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you have like those darker sides, they just deserve that light and love too.
Yeah,
Don't be afraid of them.
I became much more like caring for me as a person after I started like understanding why these parts of me are here, what happened, and it's just knowing that it's a part of me and like it's a part of who I am, as well as the positive, nice things about me.
Yeah. So you were saying that like you got off all of this stuff and then you started doing this work because you could, and rather than numbing yourself, you started to feel all these things.
Oh, yeah.
How did you not like go like back? How did you?
I don't know.
Because it's hard to feel the stuff. I did it out of
like spite.
Okay.
I was like, I was like, I can do this. I can do this.
Oh, that's so cool.
And it might not be spite. That might be the wrong word.
Willpower.
Yeah.
Willpower.
Sheer tenacity, quite literally, is like, yeah, I can do this. I can feel all of these things, and it's difficult. It's not
What was
easy.
that like?
It's like feeling emotions for the first time, really. Like everything is earth-shattering, groundbreaking. Every positive thing is the most positive thing you've ever experienced. Every sadness is the most sad thing. And I still feel like that now. Like everything, I feel so much now. It's because I'm just an emotive person, like naturally. I'm a very feeling person. I care a lot. I'm sad a lot. I'm happy a lot. I feel these things. They're very bountiful in my soul. They're very. Everything's very.
Do you think the more you're like connected, the more that you've gone closer to yourself, then the more that you can feel?
Yes.
Because it's like you had numbed. Maybe I don't like
No.
like with all the things like. That's kind of like a numbing thing. You're not actually like there with yourself.
Yeah, you're more a passenger in your body rather than being observant of the world around you. You're more. It's like, how would I describe it? Yeah, it is like a passenger. You're just sitting and viewing this life unfold around you, and you're not quite out of the car. And so now that I'm out, it's everything's powerful. Everything has such deep meaning. It's beautiful.
How do you like what like life? What does life look like now as opposed to then, and what's
much more surreal? Like I think of everything as like I'm a hopeless romantic, so everything's like a poem. Everything is beautiful. Everything is art. The world around me is art. Just in motion. It's phenomenal.
So like when you I'm like, because now I'm like looking at life as art, so I'm over here like, whoa. I wish I could like see the world through your lens. If you see everything is art, like everything is like poetry, like life is poetry. So like no matter what's happening, it's beautiful because that's art.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's all happening all at the same time, and it's beautiful. It is a beautiful thing.
Because you can feel it now. Because you can feel it. So it actually. Wow.
It has a lot of meaning to me.
Yes. Because rather than it's like you get to feel the greatest things and you get to feel the worst things, but you know that the greats will also happen. So being able to know that cycle is going to exist and like you don't have to like cover it up, you just get to experience it. Wow. So there's like so much gratitude for all of life.
Yes. And a deep empathy for humans, a deep empathy for people around me. It's so easy to like separate yourself from people when you maybe don't know their names or you don't know where they are, who they are, but having the understanding that everyone has a life, everyone has hardships, everyone has romance and beauty, and it's very, it connects me very much to the world around me. It's easy to not think about that because you're thinking about like things I have to do. Like I gotta go to work. I gotta provide for my household. I gotta feed my dogs. I gotta do all this stuff. But it's all a part of my life. It's all beautiful. It's all consistently beautiful.
Man. So you're saying that like you're like working on the ego and stuff, and you're connecting like food, like is that part of like a feeling thing too?
Yes. Yep. Yeah, because like the sensation of taste is awesome. All of the senses are amazing. I love hearing things. I love hearing music. I love hearing movie scores. I love watching movies. I like looking at paintings. I love going to art museums. Love that so much. I was at one recently where was it? In Minneapolis. I can't recall what the store was called, but there was this beautiful painting of a birch tree, and like it had all of these like beautiful oranges and reds of fall, which is my favorite season. Obviously, spooky boy. It looked like a horror movie. But yeah, I love seeing things. And that's actually why I worked at Brick House, is because I love making food. Making food is probably the most pure thing that you can do for another human being.
Oh, that's interesting. Tell me more.
Okay. Yeah. So like food is a necessity. You need to do it, and when it's styled and prepared in a very artful way with like very fresh produce and fresh proteins, this is like you're giving a meal to someone. That is, I always felt that was so important.
Yes. Okay. So, in our Filipino culture, like we love to like feed people, you know, and so my sister just moved here, you know, Jasmine, and we were like, yeah, let's like make lumpia and like pancit, and we'll just have people over and we'll feed them, and so usually we make just like a ton of it, right?
Yes.
And it's like, cause it's so good. So, but I had some friends that were like, oh, I can't really make it. And I'm like, well, just come by and grab a plate and go. And that's, and one friend said, I hope next time I will be able to just stay so it's not so rude. And I was like, rude? What?
It's not rude at all.
No, like
I'm feeding you.
we just want to feed you.
Yeah,
like
here.
that's we and then it sparked this idea of like I want to do that like quarterly and just have the doors open and just come eat some food, because that is like that's us giving love to you.
Yeah, it's an act of compassion.
Yes,
and care.
like this is, if you take a bite, we're just like,
Perfect.
yay! I'm so happy.
Right? I get so excited.
I'm like the
to
word.
make food for people. It makes me so happy.
Yeah.
It's such a joyful thing to do. That's why I loved it. So
And the
much.
Brick House has beautiful food, so it's like now you get to do something that you love, like giving to people, but you also get to make it an art form.
Exactly.
So you're just like over here like, woo!
It's so phenomenal. I loved it. I loved it so much. Gotta pay the bills.
You know what's crazy? Okay, so sometimes like drugs and stuff. I'm like, can we even say that? I'm like stuttering the you know.
That bad stuff.
The dare shirt thing, like, you know, those things. I'm like, so like, where was I going with that now? Oh, okay. So like those things, like they are heighten it sometimes, right? The sensation and things like that. But also they're so numbing to what you can already do without them. And now you're totally experiencing that. You're experiencing all of the sensations without, like, it's like everything, like you said, that you feel everything. It's like fireworks when you taste things and that kind of thing, which is what usually people try to experience with on the dare stuff.
Yes, yeah.
The dare stuff.
Yeah,
you
that's
know
what people try to experience. I'm just living through it.
Yeah, so like learning how to get there, because people all the time, they're, they're always like, are you on drugs? And I'm like, no, but you can get pretty high with breath work, man.
Yeah. You can.
And so it's like, once again, the whole like Kundalini energy thing, like we've got it in us. But like you being able to get there and learn that all on your own is like so fascinating to me. And I want to hear more of that story, that journey and that story.
Ooh, so I want to say, so in your 20s, people there's an understanding that you are going to like experience loss for the first time, and I experienced it a lot. A lot of my friends passed away when I was 19. 2 of them passed away in a car accident. They were trying to commit suicide, so they succeeded in that. One of them is now a paraplegic. She's alive. She is happy and healthy. That's beautiful. So I was 22. I listened to my friend get shot to death. These are all just like piled on, and just 19 to early 20s just piled onto me, and that's when I probably was in my heaviest stage of addiction, like right before I stopped, is because I was running in terror from feeling these things and having these dreams. And so I was like consistently numbing myself. I did not want to experience the pain of loss. And so it kind of like going through the grief stages for the first time. Like this is like all within like the first year of me stopping. And like I want to say now I'm experiencing like my traumas from earlier in my life that I had completely repressed, because my child brain was just like, yeah, we don't need that, let's take that out of here. And but now I'm also experiencing like my joyful memories, the memories that I didn't know that I had anymore, like snowball fights and like building sandcastles, like going to the beach, and everything's so fresh and so vivid and so new. So it stinks having the bad ones, but it's beautiful and amazing to have the good memories that I do now. It's absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
So I need to consistently remind myself that I appreciate my life. I appreciate that I'm still here.
It made me like think, it's like once you're able to kind of get out, like we think about the traumatic memories because we're still in fight or flight mode, so it's like we're constantly in protecting ourselves of experiencing life in that way. And like once you keep doing the work and then you said it so beautifully where you're like, now the memories that are good are coming out, where like the snowball fights exist, and eventually it's like then you start seeing, you're so grateful that I had this with like I experienced this with my mom, right? Like my mom and I kind of had like and then I went through this phase where it was just like I didn't even want to like
communicate with her.
Yeah, just no.
I was no contact with mine for from the time I was like 18 until I just called her. Yeah. I just barely called her. I hadn't forgiven her. And I understand now. Sorry for cutting you off.
Please, no.
I understand now that like forgiving the people who have hurt me is also a forgiveness of myself, and I needed to forgive myself. I needed to. It was necessary for me. Otherwise, I would have just kept living in that shell.
What were you forgiving?
So she has abused me in my life, like every version that you can think of, it was there. And
Wow.
18, I immediately just moved to Dickinson. I'm not from here originally.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just completely no contact with her.
Mm-hmm.
I blocked her on everything.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was what was best for me. I still understand that I can't have her in my life, but she's still my biological mother. She is still my mother, the
Mm-hmm.
first one that I ever had.
Mm-hmm.
And so forgiving her was forgiving the child that's still in my consciousness.
Uh-huh.
And I definitely needed to forgive myself.
Mm-hmm.
I've been mentally giving myself a warm hug for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's really good. It's good to finally get there. My father and I had, I would say, a better relationship. So we still communicate and we still talk often. I still hang out with him, but I also needed to forgive him. Abuse was around in the house.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
How did you like get to a point where you're like, okay, like I'm gonna pick up? Was it just like over time, or was it just like I need to just pick up the phone and call her and just be like, you know what?
it was
I'm
over
not
time.
mad anymore.
My brothers and my sisters are the entire world to me.
Mm-hmm.
My brothers are like a piece of my soul, and my sisters are my heart.
Mm-hmm.
Like they mean everything to me. My siblings, I would do anything for them. And so I always talk to them, and I was just like, I was talking to my brother, this was months ago, maybe a year ago. I was like, I'm thinking about talking to Sylvia. He was like, she's going to be ready whenever you want to. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just thinking about it, consistently thinking about it for months and months and months.
Yeah.
And then I finally picked up the phone, FaceTimed her. I was like, I'm an adult now. Hi. It was very odd. It was kind of like speaking to someone that you know but you don't anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I've lost touch for so long. It was 7 years before I even spoke to her again.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, it was odd. It was odd, but it was good.
Mm-hmm.
You're never really ready, but I chose to be.
Mm-hmm.
It was good.
Yeah. Didn't you guys still talk and stuff?
Here and there, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm getting better at it. It definitely took me a long time to be able to even talk to her, but now we have some back and forth.
Yeah. Man. Yeah, like once it was like my son, my thing was like my son, when I found out I was pregnant, I was like, I suppose I should probably like let her know before she finds out through the grapevine, because that would super suck, you know what I mean? and then she had just like done some work herself, and so we just had this like really awesome intimate conversation, and you know, there's still that like stuff that kind of lingers, that you gotta, you know, like you said, like you just like constantly holding yourself, like giving yourself a hug. But yeah, like the more that you keep hugging yourself, and the more that you just like keep like choosing to love instead of hold that energy, you know, that doesn't serve you, you know what I mean? Like then you see more of the beauty. Like so we're making these egg rolls, right? And my sister and I, and we're like, we still don't even know like what the ingredients are. Like, we don't know how much we're supposed to put in. Every time we're making these things, and we've asked her several times, like how much of this and that. And she's like, I don't know, you just put, it's just this and then there you go. And so every time we make these, my sister and I are bickering back and forth, like, does this smell right? Does this look right? Is the color? I think we should add more of this. And every time, and we both like stop and we're like, Mom, low key, it was just like being like, it's not about the measurements of life. It's just rolling with the punches. Yep. And we were like over here like, we love Mom. Like, wow, she may have put us through the ringer, but she really like, and we're just like, and I'm like over here writing my mom's eulogy because through like lumpia like lessons. Like it was just ridiculous. Right? It's like the closer that you get, it's like you start seeing the the lessons that were even that were being laid out. Like we choose who we want to be our mothers. We choose it because we want these experiences.
Exactly.
And it doesn't seem like it in the moment, but it's like once you start like healing and like going through the lessons and healing the like the traumas and the pain, then you start to see like why you chose this life and why it was meant for us.
I'm very happy to have chosen this life. I get to see everything. Life is beautiful.
And now that you get to feel everything in the way that you do, it's like you're okay with going at it again.
Yep. I'm okay with feeling the joy, feeling the pain. It's all part of it.
Yeah.
I'm very happy about it.
Yeah. And do you like talk to your dad and stuff now too?
Oh yeah. Him and I always talk.
Yeah.
I call him all the time.
Jack, this is like so cool because we've never really had like this kind of conversation. And like this is like super special. Like thank you.
Of course.
Usually we're just like out here like talking about how amazing the universe and the world is and and awesome books and stuff, but I've never really like got to like get this side of you, and like I appreciate you sharing.
I'm glad that I could give full spectrum.
You're like, my mind works at a fast pace. I'm not kidding, right? He's like, how did we wrap all of that in this in only like, I don't know, 20 minutes? I'm like, I'm keeping up. I got my sweatband on. That's why I did all that running. I was just preparing for you. I think I'm funny. I'm not.
I always have a lot going on in my noggin.
Yeah. So I want to talk more about like the ego though, because I love talking about the ego, and I don't know enough. So what are you learning?
I've always I've been viewing it as like just the separation of one's own consciousness from the world around it, and I think that that's why we are humans, is because we are able to observe, like we are the universe observing itself, and we are at the the peak of the universe observing itself. And so the ego was necessary for us, but it's also like our own downfall. Do you know the story of the Tower of Babel from the Bible?
No, I'm
familiar. I know
familiar.
a lot about the Bible for not being a Christian.
Let's hear the story.
Okay, so this was humanity's own hubris. Humanity had become so strong that they were like, okay, let's build a tower to God. So it's like our own ego is this culmination in this tower, this peak of reaching for the divine. And this hubris led God to, he struck down the tower, he was like, you're reaching too far. He struck down the tower and then made all of the people speak different languages. This is the Christian story for how everyone speaks different languages now. Is because we're reaching too far into heaven. And our own ego is what shot us down. And I find it interesting because it is our own ego, like our own hubris is mostly our downfall. Like that I think in some capacities we can be taking too much from the universe and not giving enough back. There has to be an even feedback. We weren't just given this earth to do with what we will. We need to make the earth prosper, because we are still a part of it, and we think ourselves too far removed or detached from the simple nature around us, when in fact we still are. We've just shaped it into our own image and what we wanted.
Right.
We've basically become the gods of this world. And while that can be for good, it also can be for bad. And we need to be able to make life flourish around us and not only take from the world that has given us such a bountiful life.
Wow, that's really Really awesome. I mean, it just makes me think, like, right? We were given the idea of technology, or, you know, some of those people out there were like, you know, they created technology.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a gift. It's a gift.
Mm-hmm.
But how are we using it?
Not all for good.
Not all for good, right? It was a gift to use it for good.
Mm-hmm.
But like with the ego, it's creating the bad.
Yep.
Right? Which is kind of reminding me of like
because
that
we
tower.
Separate ourselves so far.
Mm-hmm. Right? Like if we were connected, like you were saying about like the animals and just like putting food into you, it's like if we understood the cycle, the beauty of the cycle, then we would be thankful for what's coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like now we just shove it in.
Exactly.
We're not even like...
You just consume.
Mm-hmm.
We have all of this information. We have everything that you could ever possibly want. We have it. Mm-hmm. But we feel more isolated now. Mm-hmm. I don't want to feel that way. I want to feel connected to this world that I am so happily taking part of.
Mm-hmm. How do you do that?
Be observant. I consistently need to remind myself that I am still, I'm living through this body. I need to understand that I need to take care of it. I need to also remind myself to like breathe in the beautiful, crisp morning air of the fall. Mm-hmm. Go out and see the leaves. I like to take walks. Mm-hmm. I like to walk a lot. I like to write poetry, and I also make music with my brother. Mm-hmm. And it's just really just being a part of my life, mm-hmm. not just living it, if that makes sense.
Were you creative before?
Oh yeah, always have been.
Okay.
Yeah, it was much more desolate and sad though.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's a lot more. I don't know. A lot of my poetry is really like just lovey-dovey. Like I'm very. The idea of love is such a beauty. My favorite thing, probably. It is actually definitely my favorite thing. Love is so beautiful. It's so beautiful, and it's also like love can be so many different things, mm-hmm. like an act of compassion, like making food. Mm-hmm. Love can be a hug. Love can be a pat on the shoulder. Love can be telling someone that I love you. Love can mm-hmm. be so many different things.
Love can also be like, I don't know how to describe it, but like with my son, I'm such a gentle, I've like made such an effort to be like a gentle mom, mm-hmm. but like I also have to be firm like with him, mm-hmm. and that was like a huge obstacle I had to like get through, maybe detach from like some kind of ego trying to protect me or something, you know, but like love is also hard.
Yeah.
You know?
Love is strong. Mm-hmm. Love is also caring, kind. Mm-hmm. Love is a very, very powerful thing. Mm-hmm. And it's not always gentle. Mm-hmm. A lot of times it is.
Tough love. That's what they. Tough love. That's what I was looking for. I was like, what is it? Like I'm like, right? Like how many times do I have to tell you something? Like at some point, like maybe I just have to shift the way that shifted. And now it's like, duh. It's making sense to me, right? But it's like we're all individuals. We all are unique in our own ways, so we can't just choose one method without realizing that we need to move it. And we need to flow with what works for people.
Yep.
You know, for them to understand. We can't just be like, this is why we're doing it, because they might not understand it like that. So you have to try something new, and that's my son's awesome. He's so awesome because he's such a he's teaching me so much. He was so when he was born October 11th, 11 pounds, 6 pounds 11 ounces. Sorry, 6 pounds, not 11 pounds.
I was gonna say, whoa.
Yeah, I know. 6 pounds 11 ounces at 11:41, and I was like, wow, it seems very odd that there's so many ones in there, mm-hmm. you know. So I looked it up, and he's like Angel 11, which is the teacher.
Oh, how interesting.
I know. And and he's so fascinating. Like, he's just like a conscious baby, like no other. And he's just like, come on, mom, like, get with it. Like, you know, and I'm like, I'm trying. I'm just, it's hard to keep up with you.
How interesting.
Yeah, right?
My angel numbers I've always understood to be 444. I actually have them tattooed on my foot.
What is that?
It is like a protection. I always used to, I always would feel like, for the longest time, I'd called it like a generational curse. My father and I actually have had a like spot on same exact night terror, and so I've like to some degree I always thought that I was cursed or I had a curse following me. But like I would always see 444, and that's your guardian angel protecting you, rather than I always thought the thing behind me was bad, but it's not.
Kind of like the book that you're reading.
Yes. Everything is connected. Everything is connected. Everything is. It's so interesting. That's so awesome. I was just thinking about that now.
Just now you're thinking,
yes.
Like, this just dawned on you. Okay, so like release the gates. Let's hear all the thoughts. Let's hear all the things that you're processing right now.
Okay, I don't know what I'm processing. It's a lot.
Well, you just connected those dots, right? Everything's connected, and then you're reading this book 444. You always thought was a curse. Now you don't. You're reading a book where the town, everybody, right? Okay, here we go.
Yeah, everyone is okay. So everyone is cursed in that town. I always used to think that I was just cursed, like but I am aware now that I have blessings abound in my life. That's really, really interesting. I wasn't even thinking about it, but just having the realization now is life is beautiful. Life is so amazing. How are we so lucky to have this beautiful of a life? Wow. Wow. Now I'm just feeling it. I'm just feeling joy. Elation is so much fun. I always love feeling joy. Thank you for being a part of it. Appreciate it.
Thank you for being a part of it too. Man. When you find those synchronicities in life, that's so fun, right?
It's so cool.
Just like what just happened right now. Like, there's no doubt that life is going exactly the way it's supposed to go, because you're now seeing the signs it's telling you that it is.
Yeah, that it's going exactly how it's supposed to.
Like that right there.
The ebb and flow of the universe around you is so amazing.
I had this one. I love seeing the synchronicities of life. I'm really thrown off if I'm not seeing them, because then I'm like, oh, what's going on? What am I doing?
Right.
And then
what am I not seeing?
Yeah, because usually it's like I see them quite consistently, and when I have like a gap, I'm like very aware of it, and so I just observe it, and I try not to like get too high or too low about it. But I had a good day, like a day. Do you know the days where it's just like you're just on fire? Like, for some reason, everything's connected, everything's in a line. All your chakras are just like, yeah, baby. Like,
yes.
You know, it's like everything is just connected. It's not like this one's off over here and this one's off over here. It's just like everything is wholesome and right. And so then you're having these fire days. And it's like, whenever I have those days, I just like roll with it. I'm like, okay, I know what's happening right now. I know what this is all about. I'm just going with it. I'm writing down the thoughts. I'm making all the calls. I'm getting all the stuff done. Like, I'm just like, okay, because this is a good day. Let's just knock this out of the park.
Yep.
Yeah. And so I like was reaching out to somebody about the Kind Hearts project, because I had done like bubbles for them. Like, I started doing these. So did I tell you I play the Tibetan singing bowls? Yeah. Okay. So I play the bowls, and the bowls are kind of like they're just a modality to help you get into the right frequency, like when your vibration is off, and that can, it's like if there's stuck trauma. And anyways, I've already explained this to you. So it's it's a new concept for a lot of people, and the transition of just like diving in is difficult. So I brought together the idea of bowls and bubbles. So I make this giant bubble mixture for the kids to play in, and then I play the bowls and the parents bring the kids, and now you're getting a little bit of like meditation happening because you're listening to the bowls, which are raising your frequency, your vibration. But you're still getting the enjoyment and the meditation of having these giant bubbles just entertain us. And we're out in nature, we're breathing the air. We've, hopefully we can take our shoes off at some point and have our feet in the grass so we can get that energy from the ground. So we're doing the Kind Hearts Project was like, hey, can you bring your bubbles for the kids? And I'm like, yeah, of course, yes, because like kids are like my jam. And long story short, holy moly, I like reach out to them and I'm like, why are we only bringing kindness once a year? Why are we only bringing awareness to kindness once a year? I'm like, how can we trickle this? Yeah, like how can we trickle this throughout the year? So that was just kind of like, and then I was like, it's like the new dare. Like it's the new...
A way cooler one.
Yes, right? Like it's like, like all the kids are repping the dare shirts. I'm like, we should start repping the kind shirts, like the Kind Hearts shirts. Let's like make that like a new movement. Like let's be kind rather than, or like I am kind rather than like don't do drugs. Like just be like, I am kind. So now we're going to start doing kind things. Kind things make smart choices, blah, blah, blah. It's like a snowball effect, right?
Yes.
And so I'm just like, I'm like rambling on because my brain's on fire. And then I'm like, okay, cool, bye. And then, so then like later on, I'm just like, I'm still on fire. So like, I'm going to go to the gym. So then I go to the gym and I sit in the sauna. And who walks in but a guy with a dare shirt on? And I was like, synchronicity, baby. I am on track.
That's awesome.
Because like, when was the last time you saw a dare shirt? A long time, right? And so I was just like, okay, thank you. Thank you, universe. Thank you. I saw the sign. I appreciate it.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
Isn't that wild?
I love seeing that.
Yeah. What are the odds that you read that book, had this,
Astronomical? I have no idea. The odds are...
But there...
I have no idea.
There's a way that we can do that too by connecting like our heart and our mind and just like, gosh, what is the word that I'm looking for? But by bringing heart and mind and bringing them together and like thinking of the outcome that you want, it brings more of the things that you need towards you. And I'm trying to remember what that's called.
I know what you're talking about too.
Yeah.
There is a specific word for it. No idea. It's not in there right
I guess
now.
we're not supposed to share it.
I
it's
guess
not meant to.
I'm gonna remember it like 30 minutes later.
I'm
just gonna be like, oh, I knew it.
It's killing me because I'm pretty sure I have it written down like in my car somewhere. Like, remember this word. I've just been going on like a tangent of just trying to learn not like a tangent, but just like when I get really into something, I just study the heck out of it because I want to know all of the.
I write notes about the things that I'm learning.
Yeah.
I'm going to class.
Yes.
But I'm just learning something I'm passionate about.
And why can't we learn all the things?
I wish that was given in like school. Like,
yeah.
Because I would have been much like more like had good grades and stuff, but it was school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gross.
Well, it's just different. Some people are really into that kind of learning, but other people
I like mythologies and I like philosophies and I like reading books and all things like that. I do not like math. Numbers are evil. Never liked them.
Okay, but you might enjoy this concept of numbers. Okay, so we're all vibration, right? And so, math is the breakdown of a vibration.
It is.
Math is the visuals
us.
of vibration. I know.
I do like that.
Yeah, I know. I was like, that's why I love math so much, because
that does make sense.
Because it's vibration and sound, but for your eyes. And I was like, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
I know.
That's a beautiful sentiment.
Oh, right? Always finding the positive in it.
That is beautiful. Everything is beautiful.
Yeah. And now you'll look at the triangles and how.
All right, that's awesome.
How did we even get down this? Like, what were we even talking about?
I have no idea.
It's so funny because they were like, so who's Jack? And I was like, what are you guys going to talk about? And I was like, well, I don't know. We'll just talk because it's Jack. Like, it's just...
Yeah, really, we'll just start talking at some point. It'll become what it has.
They're like, so who is he? And I'm like, Jack is Jack. I don't know how to, like...
I don't know how to describe
Just wait till you meet him.
I have no idea how I would describe it.
But maybe that's what's so beautiful about you is it's like, we try to attach to these identities and where it's like you just are. Mm-hmm. You are Jack.
I am Jack.
You are Jack. Mm-hmm. You're not attached to you. It's almost as if you've like. Well, it's almost as if like you haven't attached to. You don't have those attachments, mm-hmm. and that's kind of what we need to be, right? Is to not like describe ourselves as like, I am a business owner and because it's like, that's not who you are. Mm-mm. That's just like a part of you. That's just something you do.
Yeah, identifiers like that are really, it's hard to just pin down one person to one thing. Like mm-hmm. they're an amalgam of memories
mm-hmm. and endless possibilities. Mm-hmm. Like you might not be an artist, for me, I never was like an artistic person, but I started just drawing, and now I'm like, oh, like I'm an artist. Like look at my
yeah, it's awesome.
Look at what just came out of my mind.
Yeah, you can do humans can do anything.
Hearts. Love.
That's why I'm filled with such compassion and joy. Like everything is so beautiful around me all the time. Mm. Everything is. Mm-hmm. Everything's so vivid, so bright, so colorful. Mm-hmm. The sounds, the smells, the sights, everything. Mm.
What do people say about you?
I don't really know.
Like living like just in that.
I guess it was like, it was hard for like authority figures. I was definitely like, I want to know more. I'm very curious. Mm-hmm. Curiosity killed that poor cat. No. But I was always very curious, and I was always very, I guess, very questioning of authority. It's like, why do you think this? Why do I have a bedtime? Why is my life like this? What is happening right now? Because I was always trying to, like, I was absorbing all of this information so fast, and I was a handful. I was definitely a handful as a child.
But is that just also being like categorized as an identity as being a handful because you have such a creative mind? Yeah. Like it's almost like you have to, because I think about my son, and my son's 3, and he asked me why about everything. I'm like, I wasn't prepared for you to ask me about why until you were 5. Like, I'm like, how do you explain the world to a 3-year-old when he's that curious about it? And so then it makes
I don't know.
So for me, I'm thinking like, how can I tell my 3-year-old? How can I talk to my 3-year-old about why the world is? Because you want to and that's part of the problem. Part of like what I'm realizing right now is I'm like, we think we have to talk differently to a 3-year-old because they maybe don't have the understanding, the words, that kind of thing, but actually they do.
Yeah.
So it was like a huge like reflection for me being like, if he's ready for the questions of why, then he's already established communication in a whole nother way than I'm even allowing him, right? Mm-hmm. Like I'm the one who's putting the cap on him because I'm thinking I need to talk to him differently. If he's asking me why, then he's ready.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know, so I think like, you were just like a conscious baby, just like always asking, still are very like wanting to learn, soak everything in. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Man, that's so cool. Thank you for that.
Of course.
Like teaching me, helping me learn.
I try my best.
I I feel like anytime I leave conversation with you, I'm just like, thank you, Jack.
I'm happy to be of service.
Wow, thank you for your beautiful mind and for always questioning and asking why and continuing the learning process.
I want to know it all. Truly continuing my learning process. I'm always learning things. And sometimes like when I'm processing, so like a lot of social media, it's really easy to just like have like you see one thing and then it's gone and you don't remember it at all forever. I like a lot of times I have to like be like, what did I just read? What did I just listen to? What did I just see? Because I'm trying to take in the information. A lot of the times it's going by too fast, and I need to like stop,
integrate,
take a second, put it into my mind, actually be able to remember it, and then just like I have to slow myself down a lot because I'm moving so fast.
I think about that too. Like sometimes I'm just like scrolling and it's all good information. I'm like, oh wow, that was really good. Next one. Oh, that was really good. Next one. And I'm like, okay, all of it's really good, but it's not really good if you're not doing anything with it.
Exactly.
So now I just catch myself like I'll hop on, and if I'm like, whoa, that was good, then I'm like, time to hop off. Because that's like
process that information.
Integrate that information. Use what you just learned. Yeah. So now I just like read like 3 books at one time.
I have to stop myself from doing that because I'll be like, oh, that was really good. Ooh, that was really good. And then I have like 3 different things going on. I'm like disseminating all of this information all at the same time in my brain. I'm like, and sometimes I can get like messed up with it. So I'm making myself. I'm like, you can read 1 book, and I am not. I'm still not. I'm reading another book while I'm reading that book. I like to give myself little treats, so more books to read all at the same time. So, did you know that Odin, like the god of Norse mythology, like the Allfather, he was also known as the Lord of the Hanged? He hung himself against the tree, like Yggdrasil, the world tree that connects the 7 worlds, to understand
7
life.
worlds?
Yep.
Okay.
So there's 7 different realms in Norse mythology. Like there's the home of the ice giants, home of the flame giants. There's Asgard, which is like the home that he made for the Asgardians, like him and his children. There's so I'm a Norse pagan, but to understand life and death, he um, hung himself against this tree to and lived as dead for 7 days. It's an odd way to describe it, but like he's like the first real interpretation of like how Jesus came back after the 3 days. Like Odin was the first representation of that in mythology, and also like the Ouroboros, the serpent that is eating its own tail, which is like a sign for rebirth and like the cycle of life and death. That also came to fruition from Norse mythology. There is a world serpent, Jormungandr, that is so large that it wraps around and can bite its own tail. And Thor is fated to fight it and Ragnarok, the end of days. Really, I really think it's interesting that a lot of things come from other things. A lot of things are like derived from other things. Like the interpretation of Jesus is very similar to what Balder is. He is the god of the sun and the god of light and fruition in Norse mythology, and it is a almost spot on to what the Christians think Jesus is. It's really interesting.
How did you learn? You said that you know a lot for not being like a Christian.
Oh, I read the Bible. I read a lot about it. Because I wanted to know. Really, just because I wanted to know. I wanted the information.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I read a lot about different religions because because those things are very interesting to me.
Organized
religions, not all for it. I think that you should worship your God or gods in the life that you live, rather than in service to something. Like I think religion is showing the love and compassion that you feel for something to the world around you, rather than going and sitting down for a couple hours. You know, in my opinion, it's better to. How would I word it? It's better to be a part of life around you, rather than I guess just sitting down somewhere. I think it's better to love and have compassion for the life that you're living in a different way, I guess. But to each his own, really.
I see what you're saying.
I feel as though I didn't word it the way that I wanted to, but I tried my best.
Would you say, like, to be in service of others, not to be in service of a deity necessarily?
Yes. That's perfect. Thank you so much.
I knew I got you, man.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, that. Exactly.
To be in service of others. Yeah, that's kind of what I was gathering too. I was like, it's the best act of love is to get out there, is to do something to send radiant energy to, because it's like if you're sitting, then how are you helping? And sitting's fine too, because we all, but that's the thing too. It's like if we're all going with that purpose of love and like intention of servanthood, I guess, then we can take turns taking rest. You know what I mean? So then it's like, then when you're sitting back, it's because you're recovering your energy so you can go back at it. And it's like if we're all working together towards the same purpose, the same vision of love, then like, which that's what all the like, if you read all the religions, because I'm really into religions too, because I've constantly been asking myself, well, what am I? Like, am I a this? Am I a that? So I like try this, and I'm like, and then I fall, and then I'm like not, and then so I'm like, well, maybe I'm this, and so then so I've like trying to, and that's where I kind of come with the whole thing, like, it's not about attaching to an identity of being this or this or that. It's just being you know. But like, so, what I've learned is that the bottom line is like just love.
Yep.
And I'm like, well, that's good.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do that. That's my thing.
Yeah, I'm good at that one.
I love loving.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, I love love.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe that's why we're so like, because I'm like, I'm love.
Me too.
You're love.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. That's hilarious. Oh, I love love too.
Me too. It's such a beautiful thing. It's the most beautiful thing ever. I like shitty rom-coms. I love those movies. They're so cute. Oh my gosh, I like Twilight. Twilight's bad. I love it. It's like,
you love how bad it is.
Yes. I love that cringy love. That super cringy teenage love. It's like, oof, gross. Love that. Love it.
Ew, gross. I love it.
Makes my skin crawl, but it is beautiful and it's super adorable.
Oh, that's such a great mindset. It's so awesome.